Welcome to Zero Credibility Sports. It's me and Justin. A lot of things has happened, like a lot of big things has happened over the last 2 weeks. Let's dig into it. Playoffs. The playoff conference finals have been announced from each side. So it's going to be the Milwaukee Bucks against the Raptors in the East, and it's going to be the Trailblazers against the Golden State Warriors in the West. So, which series do you want to go through first? Justin, I'll let you decide.
Either one is fine. I mean, I think they both had their talking points because both sides had games that had series that went to 7 games, which is great.
So go to the easy one first. Then let's go through Bucks Celtics. That series. So Celtics ended up taking the first game at Milwaukee. So I think at that point, when they took that game and then the subsequent game where Milwaukee took a split at Milwaukee, and when they headed into Boston, I thought it was going to go for at least a 6-7 game series, but it ended up quick. After one game, they lost, 4 either 3 in succession. Either they won the first game at Milwaukee or the second one. I'm not too sure.
Okay, I mean, whatever the case, I don't think there's a need to go through every single game. The Bucks won the series 4-1.
I expected them to win more games, at least. You know what I mean?
I mean, we spoke about it, right? In the sense that I think the Bucks and the Celtics series, you can see it going. It's a very all or nothing series, right? And I think it's sort of something that we alluded to before, in the sense that you can see the Celtics, like if they all have their game, their head in the game, and are all committed to each other, you can see the Celtics actually potentially winning the series, right? Yeah. But the fact of the matter is that the mentality of this team is so fragile that anything that goes wrong, and you could just see them collapsing. And I think in the particularly, I think it was the third game of the series or the fourth game of the series where Kyrie shot 22 shots and only hit 6 or something like that. And for whatever reason, it just it became the series where I think from that point you could sort of see all right, the Celtics are not going to come back because they're such a they go into the series, they go into the playoffs, they end the season in such a fragile mental state.
Yeah.
And so you're like, if one thing goes wrong, they're just gonna, roll over and die, and
and die.
That's pretty much exactly what happened, to be honest.
Yeah, no, you're right. I think in a series like this, you're relying on obviously you're relying on your team, but you should be more reliant on the star player that come to shine through. And when you brought up Kyrie, you see in the third game, that says everything, because the game that they won, Kyrie was their top scorer with 26 points, and then in the subsequent games, I think he struggled to score more than 20 points.
Games. But even having said that, the Celtics, this is a team that at the start of the season, excuse me, start of the season, people are saying there's Jason Tatum who's going to make the leap. They have Gordon Hayward now, who's back healthy. This was a team that it wasn't supposed to be all dependent on Kyrie, right? But if it came to be that, it pretty much is. It pretty much, the whole team is pretty much entirely dependent on Kyrie. And this is, I guess, a separate conversation as to whether Kyrie can be the main guy. But I think there's very, very, very few teams these days where there's only one guy.
Yeah, I agree. So
if Kyrie's the only guy, yeah.
I have to run back the statement I had just now. So Kyrie had a 23-point game he had 2 20-plus games, but it was just not enough. So, and I'm looking at box scores of the other players, and I just think I think it's tough, but I think you should expect a bit more out of him and maybe the team in general. So I think if looking at all the box scores I have in front of me right now, I think you're right. The team is very dependent on Kyrie as their leader and starman as well in terms of scoring. But I think it's also, like you said, the team morale or the team chemistry is just not great, and that is one of the reasons why they couldn't put up a show against the Milwaukee Bucks.
Yeah, and I mean, let's not just to put a disclaimer out there, like box scores don't tell the whole story.
Yeah.
But I think in this case, in this series, it kind of does.
Yes.
So yeah, to be honest, there's nothing much to be said about this series, really. Like, it's one of those what the game where the Bucks lost. Giannis didn't have, he didn't have a great game by his standards. He had a decent game. He didn't have a great game by his standards. They made adjustments from that. And then it was just pretty much standard what you'd expect,
from your
the
conference
series
team, and I think another important stat is that I think after the first game where Al Horford got 11 rebounds, the rest of the series were dominated by the Bucks. So that they're not just a 3 shooting team. They also they have a few big men. Giannis lead.
They have one. I mean, they have one big man. Like let's not. I think it's people will say, oh, it's easy to say that the Bucks are one man show. It's easy to say that the Bucks are just Giannis, but let's be real.
Yeah,
the Bucks is Giannis. Like that's it, man. Like let's be real.
They're just Giannis.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah. No, but I mean the system that's built. They're not just built on just Giannis scoring. I mean, that's obviously the core of it. If you look at the others, in 4 out of the 5 games, he was the leading scorer in all of them. So, we know that, but I'm shocked to see that he's winning all the he's leading all these games in all rebounds as well, which is crazy. So. Yeah, Giannis.
I don't think it's shocking at all. If that's the way the Bucks play. The Bucks play around Giannis both, and maybe this is what separates him a bit from the other superstars. They play around him on both an offensive and a defensive system.
Yeah.
So because I mean the fact of the matter is just Giannis is unfair. He's big, he's strong, he's athletic. I don't think. Yeah. The NBA has ever seen a player that is as physically gifted as him.
Don't you think he's just a bigger Russell Westbrook?
Yeah, in a way, I think you can say that. I mean, I can see why you would say that. Yeah, yeah. I think he has a higher ceiling. Partially because of his size, also partially because he's younger, and he still has years to develop. But yeah, I can see what he said. He's when he's on, he's very aggressive.
And he's shown better attitude than Russ, I think, in my personal opinion. But
I mean, they're both at different stages of their career, and the fact of the matter is, no one is questioning. No one is questioning how good Giannis is, but when people start questioning Westbrook, in a way I can understand it. But I can understand where you make that comparison. That's an interesting thought. I never thought of that comparison before, but yeah, I can sort of see it.
Yeah. So I think we'll move on. I think we've said all that has to be said. We can talk about all the free agency stuff after the season is over, after the NBA championships. So let's move on to
I think the only thing I talk about that in regards to the Celtics is where Kyrie will go to. That's it.
There are rumors that he's going to go back to LeBron.
Well, the thing about Kyrie is that I feel he's in a great position.
Yeah.
And sorry, I know you just said let's not talk about it, but I just want to say I think he's in a great position because he can go to LeBron or he can go to KD.
Yes.
So I mean, what a choice you have, right? Honestly.
But I mean, what's kind of certain is that you can't. I don't think he can be the man. He can't be a LeBron or KD. As in, he can't be the main man.
He can't be the only man. That's for sure.
Yeah. Okay. No, but do you think he's good enough to be the number one player of the team, which was what he wanted?
I think it's a bit unfair to conclude that based on his stint in Boston, because I also think that, like I said, right, when he went to Boston, I think he had this idea that, as everyone did, right, like he'll play with Jason Tatum. Jason Tatum's a great potential, at the time. People saw great potential in Jason Tatum. They still do see great potential in Jason Tatum, although he hasn't quite made the leap. They had a good young core. They traded for Gordon Hayward, all that sort of stuff. But I think as it turns out, the players around him probably aren't as good, or rather the other two guys that are supposed to help him, those are the two main guys that were supposed to help him, right? Jason Tatum and Gordon Hayward. Maybe didn't live up to their potential, or maybe aren't as good as, everyone thought they were. That one's debatable, I don't know. But compare his time in Cleveland with LeBron James and Kevin Love. I think you could safely say that obviously LeBron and Kevin Love combined are better than Tatum and Hayward. So I can, having said that, I can understand the argument when people say like he can't be a number one. I can understand the argument. And I can understand the argument, and in some ways I agree with it.
Yeah.
But I think there's no question he can't be the only one.
Yeah, no, I understand that bit. I'm talking about his leadership abilities, because it seems like he had I think it's no secret he's had a breakdown with the team throughout the season, multiple occasions. So, obviously it's a one-off case, right? Maybe the players he has to work with are like just tough to work with. Look at Terry Rozier coming out and say, I'm the best, I'm the best point guard ever. Don't tell me shit, I don't
think he said I'm the best point guard ever. He said he puts in the work. I don't think he said I'm the best point guard ever.
He said I work harder than anyone else. Basically,
which is very different from saying you're the best point guard ever.
Not best point guard, but he said I'm like the best to ever do this or something like that. I'm gonna drop this quote.
He says he's put in the work, and no one can deny the work that he's put in. Pretty much. Paraphrasing here, but he did not say I'm the best point guard ever.
I'm gonna find it now.
Go find it.
He said I swear he said something along the lines like, okay, fuck it, never mind. But yeah, so so the reason why I brought it up, I'm not discounting Kyrie completely, but I'm saying that this season show you enough that he's not a natural born leader in a sense like LeBron is.
Well, all right. I'm biased in this argument.
You're biased
because I like Kyrie.
I like Kyrie as well.
I think he's a better leader than people credit. I think that he's a better leader than people give credit for. And I think, and in some ways, it's because I also understand what he's trying to say, right? And I understand his concerns, right? Basically, I think his idea is that it's typical, these kids these days, right? That's his complaint, right? Like these kids these days, right? They don't know how to win a championship. They don't work hard enough, blah, 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 blah. But they don't know what it takes to win a championship. And I do, right? They don't. So essentially that's the crux of his whole, every issue that he's had with his teammates. And I think, and the thing is, I can so understand that mentality and that idea. Now you want to compare him leadership to LeBron James, right? In terms of this season, right? LeBron was supposed to lead this Lakers team into the playoffs. Right? But they didn't. Not even close.
Yeah.
Right? But you're not going to question LeBron's leadership in that case?
No. I think I think that probably is a good example to bring up. But I think he has shown enough through, I think, the Cleveland years where he brought them through to the final on 4 occasions already. So I think that's he's got.
But I think it's a bit different in the sense that.
No, but okay, but I think Kyrie had a bit more you could argue he had better talent around him compared to LeBron's Lakers.
I mean, maybe you could say that, but I think it's a bit different because, like, people like LeBron and Kyrie and Kevin, they're all the same generation of players.
Yeah.
Right? Whereas, now that they've gone to, LeBron to the Lakers, Kyrie to the Celtics, this is the next generation of players. Right? Like Jason Tatum is the next generation of player.
Yeah.
And,
okay, I understand what you're trying to say. He's trying to say these new generations haven't even reached that level. I've been there, so they're not working hard enough. I understand that bit, but then what?
And maybe some people question how he vocalizes that, or how he, or how he expresses that, or how he tries to encourage them and all that sort of stuff. But and I'm gonna go back to that thing where it's compared to LeBron as well. Like, let's not forget that the Lakers were in playoff contention until LeBron tried to trade the whole team to get AD. Right? Like, is that leadership? Is that strong leadership as well? Like,
but how do we know LeBron tried to trade him? I think he said.
Let's be real, man. Come on, like LeBron, like, come on, man. Like,
what do you mean, man? He's not GM. He's just his job is just to play basketball.
Yeah, exactly, man. You're right. Exactly. Yep. Just to play basketball. Yep. It's all Magic's fault, right?
I don't know. I think I understand. I agree with you that I think Kyrie is trying to. I mean, he wants what's best for the team. That's without a doubt. But I think it's the way he says it sometimes. It's just the way. I mean,
and I think that people question that sometimes, right? But the thing is, and this is something we'll probably never know, or we'll only find out after he retires, right?
Yeah.
In the sense that, if his first inclination, when maybe he finds his teammates aren't working as hard, or they're not listening to him, or they don't put time in the gym or whatever in order to win a championship. Right. If his first inclination is like, all right, I'm going to talk to the media about this, and I'm going to call down the media, then I agree. That's not great leadership. Right. But maybe he's tried to talk to them, to encourage them, to bring them to a level. And then maybe it's just failed many, many, many times. And you just get so frustrated. Say, what can you do? Like, you can't do anything else. Like, what can you do? So, but that's the thing. Like, that's all speculation, right? But like I say, I'm biased because I feel for him a bit, because I can understand in some ways what like this frustration of, like, look, I've been here, I've done that, I know what it takes, right? And you're gonna question me, like, look at what I've achieved, and you're gonna question me. Like, come on, guys. Like, if we all just like band together, right? And if we all like just go in together, like, just listen to me, and we'll succeed, right? Like, I know I've been there. I know what it takes. But if you guys don't do it, like, what can you do, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I think I think I know what, like, Kyrie's trying to do. He's just trying to say that, I think he probably you know what? Let's not even speculate. But I mean, I feel like the media, the way they try to portray him is that they portray Kyrie as, as a person who threw his team under the bus multiple times this season. That's why.
Yep.
I think it's.
And part of that was his own doing, right? Because of the stories that came out in the media and what he said to the media. So he's not like completely absolved of blame. You're right.
Yeah.
But like I said, like maybe it's come to a point where he's just so frustrated. It's like, look, I've tried everything I can.
Yeah.
Like to get these guys to do stuff behind the scenes. I try everything.
Yeah. No, like, I think so too. I think. I just think when. I think it will be interesting to see what happens to Kyrie. You think he's definitely leaving, or he's going to resign?
He's definitely leaving.
Okay, we'll see what happens. I mean, we can speculate this after, like, in the next coming episodes or whatever. So let's move on. So let's just stick in the East. Let's stay in the East. Let's talk about the 76ers Raptors. Win all 7 games. Finish at the Air Canada Stadium in Toronto. And my God, that was a good like last quarter. No, it wasn't a good last quarter to watch. It was just like that last shot that went in when Kawhi sealed that buzzer beater. that was like a great moment. Like I watched the fourth quarter. I watched the second half of the game, and it was actually, to be honest, it was a really scrappy. I would say actually it was quite a boring game. It was like Raptors just trying to score with Kawhi. They're just like overly reliant on Kawhi, and a very poor off form 76ers team. Remember when we made that bet who would come through?
Yep.
And I said Raptors and you said 76ers. When I watched the game, I realized 76ers, if they were firing on 75% or maybe even 80, like less, maybe even 60. Okay, that's a bit unfair. If they're firing on 75%, they will win easy because of how overly reliant the Raptors are on Kawhi. Every possession, every pick and roll is based. Every play is basically built around Kawhi.
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought that up. So, but first of all, I'm gonna say this is a great series. I think we expected it to go 7 games.
Yeah,
and we expected it to be a tight series. So for it to be won on a buzzer beater, at the end of Game 7, I think just illustrates how close the series was.
Yes.
Having said that, the Warriors, are going to destroy the Raptors.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason is because I completely agree in what you said. In that Game 7, right, Kawhi took 39 shots. Right? He took 39 shots. He was 16 for 39. That's James Harden level of usage.
Yeah.
Right? More than James Harden level of usage in this playoffs, actually.
Yeah. Definitely more. It was more.
And the reason for that was I don't think the plays were drawn up such that, we'll put the ball in Kawhi's hands every single possession. And this was brought up. I don't want to take credit for this, but this was brought up when I was watching the inside the NBA crew talking about the game, right? And Charles Barkley was saying the Raptors were scared of taking shots, right? Like Kyle Lowry gets the ball in open 3-point position and passes it. Siakam gets the ball in open 3-point and passes it. They don't want to take the shot. They all don't want to take the shot. Instead, they just say, "All right, we'll just put it in Kawhi's hands." And Kawhi was 16 for 39 in that game. He wasn't an efficient scorer, right? And so I think in Game 7, so that's one thing, and that's why I think the Warriors will just destroy them, right?
Yeah.
The second thing, but the second thing is to talk about the Sixers, right? I think the Sixers lost the game more than Toronto won it. And that sucks if you're a Sixers fan.
Well, I think there's a lot of reasons why. I think we all know that Philadelphia 76ers, the 76ers, X factor is Joel Embiid, right? And Joel Embiid's, I don't even know what problems he has, but they keep talking about his health. But there's something wrong.
It's his sickness, right? He's carrying an injury. He was carrying an injury, I think, from the in the first round. He sat a couple of games in the first round, right? He was carrying an injury, and then he got sick in the second round.
Yeah. So,
but before you go into that, I just do have to say credit where credit's due, right? I haven't seen one Sixers player come out and use any of that as an excuse. Well, because this is a playoffs. Everyone's carrying something. Everyone is carrying something. So,
shout out Enes Kanter. He's fasting and he has a broken shoulder.
Exactly. Yeah. So the fact that they're not using it as an excuse, I think is it's credit where credit's due.
Yeah, but from watching the game, I think 76ers lost. The 76ers lost a lot in having a a very poor conditioned Joel Embiid, but he still managed to score around 17 points. But they just couldn't get that extra oomph in the final 3 minutes of the game. They struggled to score. Jimmy Butler was poor. The whole team was just poor. It plays into the fact that I agree with you. The 76ers lost it more than the Raptors, won it.
But I think the most disappointing thing though is that the Sixers were not built to be a team that just revolves around Embiid, right? They're not built like the Bucks.
They're built with like all these other pieces. Even like that, they have JJ Redick, like, and he had a big game in that series. Sinking important threes.
Yeah. But the fact of the matter is that they were built like they did a trade like after the All-Star break to bring in Tobias Harris, right?
Yeah.
And then you looked at this, and I said this, right? Like I think the Sixers will go to the finals because they have all these other options, right?
Yeah.
If Embiid's not on, like Jimmy Butler will take it. If Jimmy Butler's not on, Ben Simmons will have a good game. If they're not on, Tobias Harris will have a good game. But that didn't happen, and I think that is an issue. I'm not sure if that is because of inexperience, or if
I think I was about to bring up that because it's a Game 7, you could notice there were a lot of nerves. Like if you really watch the game, there were a lot of nerves. Every time when a player is close to the bucket, they'll try pass it off, or when they're in an open 3 position, they'll try and move the ball. The only 2 players that were super comfortable there was Jimmy Buckets and Kawhi Leonard. The rest of them were, the light might have shined too bright, of a stage for these players. But yeah, it was a great close final. It was a close final. And
I have a question for you coming out of the series.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on Ben Simmons?
I still think he's the guy. I still think he just has too much like talent in a sense where he could run with the ball really well. He can move the ball wherever he wants to be. And this is his first year. No, sorry.
Except that it's not.
This is his second year. And he's still so young. And even though without shooting, I think he'll be a great player. And I think he will develop that shot. I think this is like obviously not in play, but you see a lot of videos. He's been working on it, right? And all he needs to focus on right now is to develop a 2, like a fadeaway of some sort. Like anytime he posts up and stuff, he just needs to develop that shot and worry about the 3 later on. He's still got I think he's still got a few years to develop that. But he needs to be able to shoot within the D. And I think he will be a heck of a player. Because you think about it right now, he without shooting, he already amasses 16 to 18 points a game. All he needs to do is just sink 2 shots out of 5 or something, and he'll be a 20+ player. He's so close.
I think that to be honest, and I'm not a Ben Simmons fan.
Yeah.
I think he failed to show up in this playoffs. I think there's so much expectation of him going into it. And I think he has so much talent to fulfill the expectation. Everyone knows that he can't shoot a shot. Yeah. Everyone knows that
everyone knows how to defend against him.
He's a double threat player. He's not a triple threat player.
Right? Yeah.
Right? He's a double threat player. He's not a triple threat player. Right? Mm. But I think, and to be fair, I'm not sure what the reason is. I think it's very easy to say the reason is, all you just do is sag off him.
Yeah.
You just sag off him, and what can you do? But the fact of the matter is, like, he is good enough such that if you sag off him, he can still, create, whether it's for himself or for someone else, because of his size. Really, like he's got he's an oversized point guard, right?
Well,
so I thought he would do so much better in the playoffs, actually, because I thought he was smart enough. He had the basketball IQ to figure it out. But the fact of the matter is that he didn't, and that was pretty disappointing.
Well, in Game 6, in Game 6 at Philadelphia, he was their leading scorer with 21 points. So, like, I think maybe in the last game, fine. The last game, everyone.
I'm not talking about the last game. I'm talking about the whole playoffs. The whole playoffs.
I don't think there are games where you go like he didn't turn up at all. He just didn't. He didn't shine. He didn't
This is a guy who during the season, when he's getting on triple doubles, people are saying like, if you had a choice between him and like Steph Curry, like who would you pick to
lead your franchise?
To lead your franchise? You know, Like, the fact of the matter is that for that to even be a debate, right, means that people saw something special, or he was doing something special, which he was in the regular season. He was, he was like he was getting triple doubles. He was scoring with ease. He was facilitating his teammates.
Dunking
like
highlights.
Yeah, like he had this. You could see he had the skills. He had the IQ. I think that's that's his biggest advantage, right? His IQ, right? Yeah. But of course, in the playoffs, people guard you, people defend you a bit harder, and all that sort of stuff. But I think that because I thought like he's a smart kid. Again, I'm gonna say I'm not a Ben Simmons fan. But but you have to give credit where it's due, right? Like, I think he's a smart kid. Like he'll be able to navigate that, or the coaches will be able to help him navigate that, or his teammates will be able to help him navigate that. But he didn't manage to navigate it, right? And in the end, he's just another guy. Like, he's just a guy who, like, that question of, man, would you get Ben Simmons to lead your franchise? That question is not going. It will not be raised like during the playoffs, right? Because the answer is clearly not.
Yeah, I mean, I like to give him like 2 more years. If 2 more years he doesn't show up in any of the playoffs, then I think you can like call it for me personally. But would you say that, okay, this guy is not the guy? That guy? Are you completely writing him off right now?
I'm not completely writing him off. Like I said, like I think the fact of the matter, he's still young. He's a smart kid. He looks like he's determined, all that sort of stuff. He looks like he has the right attitude, which I think is the most important thing. Yeah. But I'm just disappointed because I thought that because me as well as everyone else thought that he would do a lot better than he did because of what we saw in the regular season in terms of, him being able to navigate certain things. And the fact of the matter is that he wasn't. Like it was like a new puzzle. Like throughout the season, they try to defend him, right? But obviously during the regular season, it's not as intense as the playoffs, right? But whenever there was a new puzzle presented, he managed to solve the puzzle, right? In the playoffs, a new puzzle was presented, right? And this was in the first round and the second round. Yeah. And he didn't really manage to solve the puzzle.
Yeah.
If he wants to be a level, if he wants to be at the level that people think he can be, right? Or that he himself thinks he can be, right? Like, he needs to be able to adapt. He needs to be able to figure out how to win, right? Yeah. And how to play, especially when the lights are on.
Yeah, I think I think he's shown enough signs for me to still like stick with him in a sense where like Game 6, it's like if you don't win this, you're going home. He turned up leading scorer, helped them, helped the 76ers overcame the Raptors at Philly. All he needs to do now, right, is just go back, dump Kendall Jenner, and then he'll be like, great. That's what James Harden did, right? He dumped a Kardashian, and look where he is now, like averaging 30 plus games. Crazy, easy.
I mean, we can segue that into the Warriors Rockets series 4-2.
Yeah, perfect. I mean, okay, let's just jump straight to like game 4? Game 4, KD, drops out of the game with a calf strain. I think we all thought, I don't want to speak for you, but I thought, oh shit, this is going Game 7 and confirmed, Maybe even the Rockets might wrap it up, in Game 6. They lost that game.
No, I didn't think that at all.
Yeah,
this Rockets team without KD and without Cousins has won championship. Not just one, multiple, right?
Warriors, yeah. No, but I mean, I thought it would like. Actually,
they know how to play without these guys.
Me personally, I thought like, going to Game 6, I was like, oh, I think the Warriors might win because I think the Rockets probably. I don't know whether they have a tailored plan how to deal with KD because when KD is on, we all know that they're like KD is like the Warriors' first scoring option, without a doubt. And then without them, it's the Splash Bros, right? So the last two games, Game 5 and Game 6, the Warriors won, and I think a big reason why is that it's because Klay showed up. Klay had two big games in Game 5 and Game 6. And then, I don't know whether you want to say that the Rockets were poor or whatever, but I think I put it more on, it's because Klay, Curry is always going to give you a certain amount of points, even though he had a broken left finger or fucked up left finger. But they had Klay come through with these games which you are used to seeing in the playoffs. When shit goes bad and Klay turns up, the Warriors still manage. They'll win.
I can understand where you're coming from. In general, I really don't like this narrative of this place showed up or that place showed up, because I think it's one of those where one of the things I hate the most in sports commentary is when people say, oh, they just wanted it more. I hate that because a lot of the times that's just used as a crux for when people and I think we spoke about it before, on this is football, right? But Alan Shearer always says that, oh, this team just wanted it more. That's why they won. It's no, man. That's not the reason. You're just saying that because you have nothing else to say, right? so just saying this player showed up, right? It's I feel it's in the same vein, right? Although I get where you're coming from, but I think the fact that Klay showed up, I think is a function of this team. They know how to win. They know how to win championships without KD and without Cousins. They've been there and they've done it. And so they just reverted to that. And maybe that's simplifying it a bit. But I think that experience that they have of playing together and knowing how to win and winning championships together without KD and without Cousins definitely factored into the fact that they took the series. And they took it relatively comfortably after KD went down, actually.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's what I was trying to get at. I was trying to basically say, I think, if anything, it looks more natural, It unlocked more of the players, I feel, playing without KD. Draymond
maybe.
Game 5 and Game 6.
Yeah. And you could see, I think Draymond Green is a great example, right?
Yeah.
Where of this team and how they play, in the sense that, didn't have an amazing regular season, and people were sort of thinking, oh, man, has this guy fallen off? Maybe he's fallen off. Maybe he was never that good, But then you see Cousins go down in the first round, and all of a sudden you see Draymond has a bit of an uptick in his points, a bit of an uptick in his rebounds, a bit of an uptick in everything, right?
Mm.
And then you see KD go down.
Yeah.
And the same thing. You see suddenly Draymond has an uptick in his assists, uptick in his points, uptick in his, this has been said many times by many people, but the amazing thing about the Warriors is that they managed to gather all these stars, some superstars and some just stars, right? And they managed to put aside egos, right? They managed to tell these guys, put aside your ego and you play for the team and we'll win.
Yeah, team up, man. Let's team up. Let's be a multi-turbine engine. I like to think of them as a plane with four engines, instead of the Raptors, which uses a propeller plane, and the propeller is Kawhi to carry.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah. So
and the thing is, it's very, 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 very hard to do that.
Yeah.
Is in fact, I think it's more common. It's uncommon that it works, actually. So yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. It's because I was thinking about it the other day. It's why is it in basketball specifically? It's because your team roster is smaller. The game is 5 players on the court. Your ego, every professional sport, you have egos, right? But your egos, you have a bigger room to play with in basketball because of the little amount of teammates you have and where you're more heavily reliant on. It gives you a bigger room for your ego to grow. And that's why you have these players that, I want it to be my team, I'm the man, and all that kind of thing, right? Whereas in football, you don't see there are obviously some players who just go, oh, this is my team and everything, but they know that they need these other players on board, right? And that's why there's a bit more of a team affinity compared to basketball.
Yes and no. Obviously, winning helps, right?
Yeah. Winning helps everything.
Yeah, so winning helps everything. And I also think there's a lot of credit to be given to the coaching. The fact of the matter is, I think that a lot of people respect Steve Kerr as a coach. These superstars respect Steve Kerr as a coach, and I think that helps.
The GM for drafting, the players. He drafts basically that core. If you take away KD, that squad was drafted and pieced together very organically.
Yeah, I guess you could say that. And yeah, like the only, yeah, but I do take your point. Maybe it is easier, or rather, it's more unusual to be in basketball because of the smaller squad size and all that sort of stuff. So there's more room to be like, no, this is my team, I want to run it. But also, I think basketball has changed a bit in the sense that I think everyone sort of now knows in order to win a championship, you need three superstars on your team.
Yeah, it's a given. Like you need at least.
Yeah. But to have like 5 is like.
Yeah.
Like that's.
Yeah, but you have to convince these players to take less money, and it seems like money is a big deal in the NBA, right? Like there's so many routes you can go. You can just go your whole life just chasing money. You're never gonna win.
I mean, money is a big deal in any professional sport, and money is a big deal in life in general.
Yeah, true. But like, yeah. But for some players to take pay cuts to want to win a, title means a lot. Then you get players who just don't really care. They just want to stay with the same team for life, like Dame. There's so many pathways you want to take.
Let's hold on. Like people like Dame, they'll say that. But like, let's see when there's an opportunity to actually, let's say Steph gets hit by a bus tomorrow, right? And then the Warriors kind of say, hey Dame, do you want to come in and lead the Warriors? He's gonna leave the place and go to Warriors, man.
We'll see. I don't know, but I mean, I just use them just to plug Dame in. But it's more because of like, I'm trying to say basically in general, the general population of professional NBA players will be thinking more along the lines of money than anything. Which is why
I think it's a bit different as well, because like the fact of the matter is that this the contract situation with the Warriors has sort of helped them a bit in the sense that of the timing of the contracts, such that they've been able to convince these players to take maybe only slightly less than what they would otherwise have gotten, right? But I think the next 2 years, like the end of this season and next season and the season after that, those are the big ones. Like there's already rumors that like Clay's going to leave for the Clippers, right? Because the fact of the matter is that Klay Thompson will seek a max contract. Kevin Durant will seek a max contract because it's their like I don't know about Cousins, but Draymond as well. I wouldn't be surprised to see himself testing the waters out in free agency or in order to try to get as max a contract as he can. Whether he can get a max contract or not, I'm not sure. But like someone like Klay Thompson is a max contract guy. Someone like KD is a max contract guy, right? Yeah. And it's only now that's come about. It's like the timings of these contract expires happen. Like, all right, so now this is essentially your first max contract opportunity. Yeah. Like, are you going to like this next 2 years is the years where we'll really see, right? Like how selfless these players are. And don't get me wrong, I think that these players should go out and get as much money as they possibly can.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, but this whole narrative of like, these people are so selfless, they'll give up all this money. It's like, to some extent that's true. That's true. But like these are max contract years for these two big guys.
Yeah, true. No, I agree. I think the timings of the contracts fell perfectly in line for the Warriors to do what they wanted to do, especially because they drafted like a lot of these players. The Curry mega deal just happened 2 years ago. Yep. But he's been like running the Golden State Warriors for the past 5 years. Even longer maybe. I don't know.
I think he really became a superstar in the past 5 years. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it just fell perfect in line. They drafted well.
We'll see. We'll see.
We'll see. We'll see who sticks and who goes.
After the Warriors win the championship this season, we'll see.
I feel even though they don't win, Durant's leaving. I actually really think that I might be wrong, but I think it's possible that Clay, Curry, and Draymond will try to run it again without KD. But I might be wrong. We'll see. They could just sign a 1-year deal like LeBron.
They won't sign a 1-year deal because you leave more money on the table by signing a 1-year deal.
Okay,
so they won't sign a 1-year deal. The reason that LeBron signed a 1-year deal is because he had a verbal agreement with, was it the Lakers or the Cavs? I can't remember. I think it was the Cavs, right? This was before he made the Lakers move. They really signed the one because there was a new TV contract coming in the following year, where he could get the supermax, like more than the max he could get if he signed in that year.
Oh yeah,
so
maybe
he had that agreement where he's like, all right, I'll just sign 1 year here. You give me the max 1 year you can, but next year you sign me to like the much bigger max. So yeah, like that's an exception.
Yeah. Okay. True. Then I guess we'll see. Yeah, I agree with you. I think we'll have to see next season, irregardless of the result, whether who stays and who goes. We all know that I think Curry, Mr. Golden State himself, will be there. So
yeah, I mean, because he's still in contract anyway. So yeah, he will be there.
Yeah. But we'll see who stays by his side. All right, let's move on to the last game. The Trailblazers against the Nuggets. So Portland won the game, took Game 7. CJ McCollum had a huge Game 7. And I think arguably he was the more important player compared to Dame Lillard across this particular series. Jokic had another amazing series. He's still, he's leading the playoffs in rebounds, assists. Sorry. Yo.
Oh yeah, I mean, okay.
Okay, yeah, okay, no surprise. Okay, yeah. So I mean, yeah, I another prediction that I managed to get through, but I didn't expect Dame Lillard to have, I would say, a relatively poor showing throughout the series. Very lukewarm, very mediocre, which kind of leads me to think that the Western Conference Final is going to be a breeze for the Warriors. I think Portland might take one game, and that's it.
I think that the Warriors, in a lot of senses, are set up well against them as well. The matchup is good for the Warriors. Yeah. Yeah, the matchup, exactly. Yeah,
because it's like two teams basically usually relying on guards, but obviously you get the anomalies such as like KD, and then you get, I don't even want to put Enes Kanter as a factor, but he's been an important factor for them this playoffs. For the whole playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, you're right in the sense that, these are two teams that rely on their guards for scoring.
Yeah.
And if you want to, I mean, don't get me wrong, I think Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum have done great, amazing this postseason. But if you have to choose between Steph and Clay or Lillard and McCollum, I think most people would choose Steph and Clay, right?
Well, KD, man. KD is another gun,
I mean, he probably won't play the first two games anyway. So whatever.
Yeah. But I don't think they don't need him.
Yeah, but having said that, Portland has surprised. I think they surprised a lot of people getting to the finals. Maybe. So I mean, they beat OKC, now they beat the Nuggets. Maybe they were more favorites against the Nuggets than against OKC. Yeah. I certainly favor them because I thought the Nuggets didn't have the pedigree, and also I think overall, their second option and third option is not not that strong.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll see. But I mean, I think you're right. Like the Warriors, I think will just destroy them.
I think it'll be lucky if they take one game.
I think they'll take one game. I think they will. It won't be a sweep, I don't think. I think they'll take a game.
I think it's 4-1. I think it's quite a clear 4 in my head.
I can see that. Yeah, I can see that.
They might take the first game because Dame Lillard is feeling it. Then Splash Brothers show up the second game. KD comes back and just destroys them. And
or if Steph or Clay have an off game or something.
Just it's a problem when you have to rely on them to have an off day.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think that's did it. Shall we set up? Okay, let's just go. Okay, since we talked about the Golden State Warriors and the Portland series, let's just talk about the Eastern Conference Finals between the Raptors and the Bucks. Kawhi against Giannis. What's your prediction?
Man, this is gonna like. As much as it would surprise me, like if you told me this at the start, I think the Bucks will win it.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't make a bet of you, but like I'm leaning more towards Raptors just because of like Kawhi's got that X factor. Don't get me wrong, Giannis has that X, but Kawhi has that X factor. It really depends on his teammates.
But yeah,
like, I know
a lot of my decision, a lot of my like leaning towards it is based. I won't lie, it's based very heavily on that final game against the Sixers.
Yeah, it is. That's my bias. But I have to give it to the Bucks that the Raptors are filled with a team of. They do have talent, but when do they have that playoff, that playoff ability? That's a different story. Because like Marc Gasol and even Siakam, I'll put Siakam in there, and Kyle Lowry. Kyle Lowry is an all-star. Siakam made it through this year's all-star. Marc Gasol made previous all-stars. But that doesn't mean that they have, they're playoff quality players. But they should be giving a bit more, in my personal opinion. Serge Ibaka I tell you what, this Raptors team is good at. The Raptors is basically Kawhi and offensive rebounds. I mean, and rebound. They're a good rebounding team. But if they're imagine facing like someone as aggressive as Giannis at the boards at both ends. I think this is the real question. If they can,
the thing is on. Oh yeah, no, sorry to interrupt. Go ahead.
I think if they can keep that same aggression like they did in in this game 7, they might have a chance. But if not, if you let Giannis take all the rebounds and stuff, it's over.
Yeah, but that's the funny thing, right? Like that's why I say, like, if you told me at the start of the playoffs, I didn't pick the Bucks to make the finals. I think I don't recall, and one of the reasons was because of pedigree, right? So basically, what you just said, you're arguing pedigree, right? Like,
yeah.
But to say that the Raptors don't have pedigree or they don't have playoff experience, right, is the Bucks even more so, like the Bucks even more so don't have the pedigree, even more so don't have the experience. In fact, if you want to look at purely on playoff experience, the Raptors have more experience. Like Kawhi's won it.
Yeah,
right?
Won it.
Like Marc Gasol's made deep runs before, right? Yeah. So this team, like they have experienced players who've been there, right? But the fact of the matter is, for whatever reason, primarily on the game 7 when every player decided not to, that they were too afraid. I think that's the word. They're afraid to take a shot. So it's all right. We'll just give it to Kawhi. Let's give it to Kawhi. Like, if that's gonna be their reaction when the big game comes up, right? Like, it's gonna be. Yeah, the Bucks are gonna win it. Again, the Bucks. The game plan's easy, but easier said than done, right? You stop Giannis. Sorry, let me correct myself. You can't stop him. You can only hope to contain him, right?
You limit him, yeah.
Yeah, you slow him down a bit. You can't stop him, right?
No, so I think the same defensive plan for the Bucks against the Raptors. You stop Kawhi, so that's why I say it's basically Kawhi against Giannis, right? I mean, obviously the extra part, that's an oversimplification. But
the thing is on paper. The thing is on paper is like the Raptors are not just Kawhi Leonard, right? On paper, they're not.
Who
on paper, they have options.
Like who?
On paper, they have Kyle Lowry. On paper,
don't get the guy out, man. That guy is like a fucking. Okay, don't get me wrong. That guy is actually surprisingly strong for his size. If you
the main reason you're hating on Kyle Lowry is because you see some memes on Instagram about him, and he had a one bad game.
He's. I don't think he's like poor in terms of like the whole team. I just think he's poor in terms of scoring option. which should be his main, his main core competency.
Tell me what the second scoring option. Tell me who the second scoring option the Bucks is. Go. Give me the name.
Eric Bledsoe.
No.
I'm wrong.
See, you don't even know. Like that says it all, right? That says it all. Like,
who's a reliant second scoring option? There probably is none.
It's Middleton.
Oh yeah, Chris Middleton. Sorry, my bad.
Game.
Yeah, Chris Middleton.
Right. So the fact that people don't even recall his name, right? It's because the Bucks are so much more reliant on one player than the Raptors are, right? So on paper, I think the Raptors can win this. Right? On paper, I think the Raptors win it. But it's because, and all they have to do, again, easier said than done. All they have to do is slow down Giannis. That's it. But the fact of the matter is, it seems that this team is choking when the big game comes along. And 7 games against the Bucks in the finals, in the conference finals, they're all big games. So,
yeah. I believe the Bucks have like I wouldn't say more talented, but they have a talented. I give them much more talent than I think you give them credit for. Because Middleton, I mean, okay, you can argue, they're never they don't have the playoff experience, but Middleton, Bledsoe, Mirotic, Brook Lopez, these are like good players. And they have more on the bench compared to the Raptors. The Raptors work on like a 2-player rotation. They only use 7 players out of the 14 that they have. They have Jeremy.
In the playoffs, every team's bench is shorter. Though. In the playoffs, every team's bench is shorter. That's just how it is.
But come on, the Bucks use more of their bench than the Raptors. Raptors just use 2.
Because the Bucks win 4-1 against the Celtics, and they blow them out by 25 points in 2 games.
Okay, yeah, that could be a factor. We'll see. We'll look at this series and we'll find out. But they have Jeremy Lin. The Raptors have Jeremy Lin on the bench, and he's not getting minutes.
On paper, I think most people would take a team. Okay, take Kawhi Leonard aside for the Raptors, and take Giannis aside for the Bucks. Right? Discount those 2 guys. Right? The team, the Raptors would be what? It'll be Kyle Lowry, Siakam,
Serge Ibaka.
Marc Gasol, and Serge Ibaka, right? That'd be the 4, right? Who'd be the 4 in the Bucks? It'd be Middleton.
Serge Ibaka. No, sorry. Middleton, Bledsoe, Mirotic, Brook Lopez.
So Mirotic doesn't start, first of all, and he hasn't done that well since moving to Milwaukee, right? So that's the first thing.
Yeah.
Right. But between those 4. I think a vast majority of people will take the Raptors 4.
Why?
Vast majority.
Because of more talent, or is it because of they're more balanced? I'll say that I think
they're all better players. They're all better players.
Okay, we'll see. I'm excited to see. I think the Raptors might edge it, but I think it will go 7 games. I think this is the more interesting way. This is hands down the way more interesting conference finals, in my personal opinion.
Of course, because the other side has the Warriors.
So yeah, basically, this series is going to be the best series of the remaining games in the NBA, in my personal opinion. I have to do the conference finals, my friend.
It's definitely the closer final for sure. We'll see. Again, maybe I have a bit of bias because of that. Of how unimpressed I was with the Raptors winning in the way that they did against the Sixers.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But we'll see. But the Bucks, I think Giannis is locked in, man. Like he's looked good, man.
The other players need. I'm not saying short, but they need to be a bit more courageous. Kyle Lowry had shown all the players. To be fair, the Raptors show a lot of aggression in that match. But when it comes to sinking, getting buckets, that's where they lacked. I wouldn't say they lacked any aggression in any other department. Serge Ibaka was
but see, that's short-sighted, right? In the sense that, they lost the game because they missed shots. It's not about missing shots. You take the shots. That's the important thing. The important thing is that is not that you missed the shot. That's not an important thing. The important thing is that you're not afraid to miss the shot. You take the shot. That's the problem.
But sometimes you can have too much of that, you know? You can have a bit too much of that. Westbrook. Perfect.
I mean, when there was a series of plays, right, that Charles Barkley and the rest of the inside crew were talking about, where these are wide open shots that these players pass up, wide open. I don't care if it's I don't care if it's Ben Simmons. Okay, maybe if it's Ben Simmons, I care a bit.
Yeah.
But if it's like if it's like Lonzo Ball, right?
Fucking Lonzo Ball.
I'm like, take the shot, man. Like, don't be scared to miss the shot.
I know your three is ugly.
I'd rather you take the shot and miss it than not take the shot at all
and pass it off. Yeah, agreed. I think it'll be an interesting Eastern Conference Finals. I can't say the same for the Western Conference Finals, but yeah, I digress. Shall we move on? This is the hour mark.
Yeah, let's move on.
Let's move on quick. Let's talk about football. City title winners. The title was decided. I mean, you could argue that it's been decided way earlier, but the title was officially decided on the last game of the
I don't think it was decided because all Man City had to do was drop points in any game. I think it's very impressive the fact that it didn't drop points in any game. I think it's very impressive Liverpool as well didn't drop points in any game.
Yeah, I think what was the winning streak? They didn't drop a single. They won the last 14, maybe even longer. The last 14 games.
Yeah, I think it was like 13 or 14, something like that.
Something ridiculous. But yeah, and this is where they ended up with 98 points, scoring 95 goals, conceding 23. Liverpool finished with 97 points, just 1 point less. And they only lost one game the whole season. What got them was that 7 draws, man. Those 7 draws that they have. City lost 4 games, but Liverpool just lost 1. That's how tight it was, man.
I mean, everybody knew how tight it was for the past 10 weeks.
But any other season, Liverpool would have won the league.
Yeah. I mean, it's a record, right? It's a record for anyone ever finishing second. So yeah. I mean, credit where credit's due. Liverpool have done amazingly well. They didn't pull it off in the end, but to be fair, I think most people sort of thought that they wouldn't anyway. Because City have been just too good in the league this season. There was a glimmer of hope when Brighton went up 1-0, but then that was like
1-0, yeah.
Extinguished. Like a few minutes later when Man City scored. And in the end, it was a comfortable win for Man City. But
when they got that one, you go like, oh shit, okay, maybe they can hold it out. But once they got that second goal, like in a few minutes after, it was still for the first half, and you go like, okay, it's over. Because the whole game was spent in like Brighton's defensive half, which was like sad to see. But
I think to be fair, the Premier League, the end of at least this final week, there's a bit of excitement towards the end because like Man City can still lose it, but in the end, I think it went the way that people thought it would. Even the other places like third and fourth. In the end, Spurs finished fourth.
Yeah.
Chelsea finished third, but
yeah.
That didn't really matter as well in the end, because Arsenal and Man U had dropped off before, like earlier.
Yeah.
Even the relegation
was decided.
Was all decided already. So the final week
was super early.
Yeah, I mean there was a lot of things which were a bit in a way like decided already.
Yeah, I think what else is there to say about it? And I think you could tell City were gonna do it like ever since the last few weeks, especially when they started grinding out those 1-0 wins. There was like
I think you would I think you would be pretty comfortable with City winning a league. The moment the final whistle blew in the match against Spurs, in the Champions League, I think that's the moment I think you sort of think, all right, Messi would definitely win the league now.
Okay, for me, it was more of like after that, after they beat Leicester. I thought Leicester was the last line of hope when they got that 1-0 win. I was like, okay, if Vincent Kompany can score a goal like that to win that game with that so much at stake, it's meant to be. It's like destined, It's destined.
Yeah. No, I can see how it is. But yeah, I think a lot of people were thinking that Man City would get, and both Man City and Liverpool would drop points because of their Champions League, because they go deep in the Champions League. But I think a big factor was the fact that City didn't go deep in the Champions League, but rather they went out in the quarters. I think that helped them.
Kind of deep, but like okay, fine, but like not the semi-finals. And to be fair, City had like they were competing for the quad, and there's
and I told you right, I don't think they'll do it.
Yeah, they'll do a treble, which is still pretty fucking good.
Yeah, it is. But the fact of the matter is,
it's no quad.
I mean, a treble it's a domestic treble, and especially a treble with a League Cup. It's like,
man, what is everyone?
You trade the League Cup, the FA Cup. You trade that for the Champions League, of course.
You trade both of them.
I think for Man City as well. 1000%. You trade the FA Cup and the League Cup for the Champions League, of course.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. I think for Man City in particular,
I don't discriminate. I think the League Cup is a respectable cup in my opinion.
Is a stupid. It's not a stupid competition, but it's a competition that teams don't really care about.
Yo, bro, we're gonna care about it next year.
No, I don't care about it, honestly.
I do. Okay. Anyways, yeah, that's the Premier League.
In fact, I think this season, Man City would trade the Premier League for the Champions League. Man City would trade the Premier League, the FA Cup, and the League Cup for the Champions League.
Yeah, because it's their first one in history. Yeah, of course, but yeah.
So yeah, this domestic treble. I think I think if you gave Man City fans that the option at the start of the season, yeah, they'll take it. And I think overall, if that happens, you can look back and say, a Man City fan can look at, yeah, it was a good season. But I think because of the way things played out, you're a bit disappointed because, like, if you're a City fan, it's like, man, we could have won.
I think they basically got 8 out of 10 season. It would have been 10 out of 10 if they got the Champions League, but it's still an 8 out of 10 season. Like,
yeah, but it's also the way that you went out, right? And also the fact that you see what's happened in the Champions League since, right?
Yeah.
You think, man, Man City have set up, like, if they got through, they're set up to win it, man. Like.
But you know what's funny, right? Like, Liverpool really wants the league, and City really wanted the Champions League.
Yeah, exactly. So, like, Liverpool would trade the Champions League. If they win the Champions League, they trade it for the league.
City's league?
Yeah. And City would trade the league for the Champions League. So, yeah.
That's actually a very interesting point. Yeah. Well, yeah, I think it's been a great season. For those who still want to watch, like, a good league, not a good league, a tight league that's going to go on, it's the German league that's going to be decided on the last day as well. Because Dortmund needs to win, and Bayern needs to lose for Dortmund to win. But I think it's unlikely. I think it's Bayern's league to lose. And so too in the Dutch league as well. I think Ajax are going to complete. They're going to win their league. All they have to do is win the last game as well. And if they drop points,
they've won their league. Oh no, sorry, they won the cup. Sorry,
they won the cup, yeah, but they haven't won the league. But like that team is going to be broken apart. The league.
But no, honestly, the Ajax, I agree. I think they don't care. I have a feeling they don't care that much about the league.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
You mean Bayern?
Oh no, sorry, they will. Yeah, Bayern.
Yeah, no, but I think okay. I mean, like, obviously they could have what I said. They could have won a domestic. They could have won a treble in themselves. So right now it's like they could have won a treble. It would have been sick.
Yeah.
Barcelona.
Okay, before going into anything else, can you talk about the Champions League and talk about this Liverpool beating Barcelona 4-0? And what is next for Barcelona?
Talk about the Spurs Ajax one, because I thought that was a both comebacks were great. So we witnessed a great Champions League year in the sense where there were so many comebacks. There were
comebacks and many upsets.
Yeah. Exactly. You can name them all. You can name a few. Sorry, you can go name the Juventus comeback against Atletico, United against PSG. These two games, the Tottenham Ajax game, Tottenham Man City game, Liverpool Barcelona. Yeah, Ajax Madrid. My God,
even Ajax Juventus.
Yeah, Ajax Juventus as well. Yeah, it's great. I think, but it's definitely between these two to top it out. Which two like were the better one? And I think we can.
Because they're in the final, so of course it's definitely between these two.
Yeah, no, but like the nature of it as well. I think for me, I personally think the Ajax and the Spurs game was the best. The Spurs
yes. I mean, it's sort of like they're good for different reasons, right?
They're all great.
Like the Ajax Spurs one was because of the timing.
Oh yeah, fuck.
But also, but the Barcelona Liverpool one was because like,
the magnitude.
Who beats Barca 4-0, right?
Yeah.
So. I mean, they're all good in their own. It's kind of a stupid argument. Say, which comeback was better or whatever. But it's just
they're all great.
Yeah.
The one that like wowed me the most was that Spurs Ajax one, the last kick of the game. My God.
And it's sort of like it all makes you wonder, right? Like, man, like, are Spurs like like you said the thing about Man City and the league, right? It's like, are Spurs being set up to win the Champions League this year? Let's not forget what happened to Spurs and Man City, man.
Yeah.
In the Champions League. Let's not forget that Man City were through before having that goal chalked off.
Yeah.
So like two rounds in a row in an injury time, like they've gotten a lifeline.
I think even though you won
Spurs being set up to win the league, to win the Champions League.
I think if you wasn't a United fan, you'd want Spurs to win.
I think a neutral wants Spurs to win is a good story.
But I have a feeling that's not going to happen. I think Liverpool are going to tear them apart in the final.
That's what people said, in Man City, Spurs. That's what people said in Man United, PSG. That's what people said Barcelona, Liverpool. That's what people said Madrid, Ajax. But that's the thing about Champions League this season, right? It's like people think, these guys are going to destroy these guys, right? But for whatever reason, this season, like things go crazy, man, this season. I don't know why. This Liverpool Barcelona thing, right? Like, this is the second time it's happened in 2 years, man.
You want to take a bet? You want to make a bet?
Bet for what?
The Champions League final. I'll take Liverpool. You take Spurs.
I mean, to be honest, I don't know who will win. All I want is a good game. But
yeah,
no, like this. I think the interesting story to come out of this is Liverpool Barcelona. Like Liverpool Barcelona, like this is the second time that Barcelona has gone out.
No, this is
after
more.
taking a lead in the first leg.
Yeah,
a good lead. They lost. They lost. They beat Roma 4-1 last year, something like that. 3-1 last year, something.
They lost 3-0 at the Olympico.
Yeah, and then now they've beat Liverpool 3-0, right?
Yeah.
They beat Liverpool 3-0 at home, and then they lost them like 4-0 away.
No, Barcelona had troubles in the last few years, except 2015 when they won it. But they've had troubles in the Champions League. So
I don't care whether you have troubles or not. The fact of the matter is that you shouldn't be losing 4-0.
Yeah.
Right? Like, especially after playing so well and winning 3-0 at home.
Well, the first game, Liverpool had chances.
They did. But so did Barcelona.
Yeah. So, like,
right.
Okay, but obviously the other game. No, but Barcelona had chances the game at Anfield. Yeah,
they did.
So what's the difference? Like, then Liverpool should have scored in the other game, but Barcelona shouldn't have conceded. Like, then Liverpool shouldn't have conceded in the first game.
No, what I'm saying is that it's happened 2 seasons in a row.
Yeah.
Where they've had a good lead after the first leg,
and then
in the second leg, they collapse.
Yeah.
Like, they lose by a scoreline, which before the game you would think, there's no way Barcelona will lose.
Yeah.
Right? Like, even the most optimistic Liverpool fan wouldn't say that, Liverpool can beat Barcelona 4-0 tonight.
Yeah.
Right?
But
yeah. The fact of the matter is, and I know there's this argument that, Barcelona, like, their defense isn't as good as people think it is.
Yeah, that's
why I agree. And no, I agree that's true. But the fact of the matter is that
you don't get beaten 4-0.
You don't get beaten 4-0. Exactly. And also, come on, man. They're good enough to score a goal against Liverpool.
Yeah. But
right?
then could you
because
say that,
because they have that one, they have the one man, right? The one man can score a goal from anywhere.
yeah.
So
Well, I like to think is this, like it's been what I've been saying from the start, that I think the English teams are just really strong this year. And look at them, they're dominating Europe. The strongest teams in the world are the British teams right now. The English teams. They're just so. And I think I was like, I mean, we'll get into this like in another episode, but it's just that there's so much money with these English teams. They get the best coaches and the best players. So if it wasn't for that guy, Leo Messi, Barcelona would not even have a sniff of a chance.
I mean, maybe, but all right. Just touching very quickly on this idea of all English and the English teams are just the best, right? Man, like people who go with that narrative have such short-term memory, man. Like, who was in the Champions League final last year? Barcelona, Liverpool.
No, Real Madrid, Liverpool.
Real Madrid, Liverpool, right? Right. Who was in Champions League final the year before?
When's that? That was 26. That was it. Oh no, it was Real Madrid and Atletico.
All right. So who was in Champions League final the year before that?
Real Madrid. Was it Juventus? Yeah, Real Madrid, Juventus.
So this is the first season where there's two English clubs.
Yeah, no,
and I know also because people are saying, the Europa League is all English as well, right?
Yeah.
But I don't think I think it's coincidental. I somehow doubt next season we'll see four English clubs in the two.
Obviously not. But I mean, the English teams will be favored. Like as in, like in these cup competitions. It's not like sometimes you need a bit of luck as well, right? It's not just. I don't think
the English clubs will be favored, like in both the Europa League and the Champions League. I don't think so.
Why wouldn't they be favored in the Europa League? Like Chelsea and Arsenal. Okay, Chelsea in the Champions League. So next year the Europa League teams will be okay. It might be just United and like Watford or even Wolves. It depends on who wins the subsequent competitions.
Yeah.
So it will be United and either Wolves or Watford. But so that's not the case. But I'm talking about like this year at the start when Chelsea and Arsenal won the Europa League, they were definitely the favorites.
Yeah, maybe. I can't remember who dropped down from the Champions League into the Europa League though. Because that's a factor.
Yeah, I know that's a factor, but like I think Valencia is probably the other biggest team in that, and they did really badly this season in their respective league. They were like They were close. They were like flirting with relegation at the start of the season.
Yeah, but anyway, But I think this idea of saying like, the English league is the strongest league in the world because four clubs made it to the final.
No.
I think
right now at the start of the season, I said, the English teams are just really, really strong right now this season. And I said that Man City and one of them will make the final. One of them will win it actually. And look, it's an all English, and I'm not surprised. I'm personally not surprised. I just think
you're not surprised it's Spurs, Liverpool, right?
No, I'm not surprised there's another English team. I'll give it to you.
You're not surprised there's another English. You're not surprised that aside from Liverpool and Man City, you're not surprised that the other English team is there.
From the start, yes, but like I think I adjusted. Like ever since that like City Spurs game, I was like, okay, one of these teams are gonna make the final because of the pathway. No, because of the pathway, they have to. You don't believe me? Fine.
No. I mean, I'm not saying I don't believe you. I just think that your logic is very. Okay, fine.
Yeah, I'm surprised that Spurs made the final, but like I'm not like, oh shit. I didn't expect them to be like, it's not like out of this world, but like it's City and Liverpool are the strongest teams in the world right now. All right, that's it.
I mean, yeah, probably.
So I got it right. I got it right from the start of the season. That's all I want to say. Done. All right, what else you want to talk about?
Okay, if that's I think we can end it right. I think it's great to end it right there and let people just sit back and reflect on what you just said. I think that's a great way to end the show, actually.
Boom, did it.